Hello, welcome to Muckman Movies. I was challenged a few weeks ago for my top 10 60s movies, and to do it justice, I needed to revisit quite a few films. I've spent about 2 weeks, over 2 weeks, revisiting quite a lot of films from the 60s, just to make sure I got my top 10 in the right order and I didn't miss any films out. The 60s was such a fantastic decade for film. A lot of people seem to forget that because of the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s. A lot of people seem to forget how great the 60s were, just for cinema. Incredible, incredible decade for film. So, if you want to see what I chose as my top 10 60s films, stay tuned after this. Okay, so before I go through my top 10 60s films, I'd just like to mention Darren over on Real Talk Yorkshire. He's the guy who challenged me to do my top 10 60s films. So if you've not come across his channel, go check his top 10 60s films out. He has just released his top 10 50s films, so he's definitely ahead of the game at the moment. But yeah, go check his channel out. So, without further ado, I will start off at number 10 with John Schlesinger. It's easy for you to say. Schlesinger's Midnight Cowboy. So, what a film this is. This is a gritty, seedy, dirty tale of a man who's trying to escape his past, and he ends up on the streets of New York trying to become this hustling gigolo. His name's Joe and he's played by Jon Voight, and Jon Voight's fantastic in this, as is Dustin Hoffman, who plays Rizzo. So Joe comes across Rizzo and he gets hustled again and conned into this job. And then further down the line, they meet up again and there's a bit of a confrontation, but they strike up this unconventional friendship. And Rizzo almost becomes like his manager, trying to get him gigolo, like prostitution jobs. And yeah, this is dark, it's gritty. There's quite a few flashbacks which tell the story of Joe's past. So it's not quite a linear film. There's a bit of non-linear narrative to this, which expands on the characters. You've got Rizzo, who's really a downbeat con man. He's grubby. He lives in this derelict building, but he's trying to do the best he can to be more successful than his father. But yeah, there's lots of gritty moments in this, and also some psychedelic moments. There's a bit of a nod to Andy Warhol and all the parties he used to have in the 60s. And there's a fantastic scene where them two turn up at this psychedelic 60s party. And you can just see that they're out of their depth. But yeah, great film. Midnight Cowboy, number 10. My number 9 spot is from the king of cinematic epics, and that's David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia. What a masterpiece this is. This will be higher up in other people's lists, and deservedly so. It's a masterpiece. Revisited this a week or two ago, one Sunday afternoon, and wow, what a film. So, Lawrence of Arabia is an example of cinematic perfection. You've got the scene set in the desert, which leave your jaw firmly on the floor. It's just stunningly captured by Freddie Young's cinematography. Just a wonder to behold. It makes you wonder the logistics of how they actually made it. Like, they do it. A lot of these scenes are going through the desert on camels, leaving footprints in the sand, and you just wonder, well, if they got that take wrong, they'd have to wait again for the sand to cover over the footprints, and you know, the logistics in making this film must have been a nightmare. But yeah, the sheer scale of Lawrence of Arabia is just so impressive. You've got hundreds of extras, you've got hundreds of camels and horses, and you've got all these expansive shots in the desert, in the Jordanian and Moroccan desert, which is where it was all filmed. So you got these big towering mountains which just dwarf all these people on horseback, and it's just an absolutely incredible film. Yeah, you've got performance-wise, Peter O'Toole, arguably his best ever performance, but is supported by a wonderful cast, including Alec Guinness, Anthony Quinn, Anthony Quayle, Jack Hawkins, Claude Rains. I've probably missed someone out, but yeah, Omar Sharif. Bloody hell. How can you forget about Omar Sharif? But yeah, brilliant film. And the film score by Maurice Shah just gives you a sense of grandeur while you're watching this. It just fits perfectly with the imagery, and just gives it another expansive scale. It's just an incredible film. If you're a bit daunted by the running time, just put it on one lazy Sunday afternoon. There's an intermission in the middle of it, so you can go and get a coffee and a sandwich and then, watch the second half. So, yeah, what a masterpiece. Lawrence of Arabia from David Lean, number 9. Okay, at number 8 comes a science fiction masterpiece from the director Franklin J. Schaffner, and that is Planet of the Apes. What a fantastic science fiction film is. One of the best of all time, and it's got the best twist in cinematic history, I believe. No one saw it coming, and it left everyone's jaws firmly on the floor. You've got an amazing cast. You've got Charlton Heston playing Taylor, who is an astronaut, and he crash lands on this planet which is ruled by apes. You've got Roddy McDowall as Cornelius, one of the chimpanzee apes. He's just brilliant in this, Roddy McDowall. Kim Hunter, she's one of the slaves, I think. But yeah, I think James Whitmore's in this as well. I think he's one of the apes. Obviously unrecognisable because the prosthetic effects in this are incredible. If you can't comprehend how great the prosthetics are for a 60s film, 1968, so we're on the cusp of the 70s, but honestly, the prosthetics are incredible, so lifelike. I mean, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, it's a terrible retelling of the story, but the practical suit effects are incredible in that. But these aren't far off for a film that was made decades earlier. You got an amazing film score, which ramps up the tension and the excitement from Jerry Goldsmith. But yeah, one of my favourite science fiction films, Planet of the Apes. The original can't be beat, even though there's been some great sequels in recent years. But yeah, Planet of the Apes, number 8. So at number 7 is Kaneto Shindo's Onibaba from 1964, another masterpiece. I mean, all these films I'm choosing are masterpieces in my opinion, but this is a visual feast for your eyes. The cinematography is stunning. The contrast between light and dark, incredible, particularly near the end where the horror aspects come in. But you're transported into this like feudal war Japan, where this mother and wife find out that their son / husband has been killed in a battle, and they're trying to make ends meet. It's sweltering. The beads of sweat are dripping off their faces, and the way they try and survive is they prey upon these beleaguered samurai coming back from the war. They're preying on them, stripping them of the armour, and then selling the armour on to make a living. just like farming the reeds and stuff. It's not, it's not going to be life supporting. They're not making enough money out of it. And after the wife finds out that her husband has been killed, she starts to bond with one of her neighbours, and they start a relationship which the mother is really against. And this is where the horror aspects come in, and the final third is just edge of the seat stuff. It's incredible. Yeah, Onibaba, incredible film. Number 7. So number 6 is Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch. This is a dirty, gritty, brutal, bloody, violent Western. One of the most violent Westerns you'll ever likely to see. But it's fantastic because you've got the camaraderie of these aging outlaws who are initially ambushed, and then they're being chased by Robert Ryan's bounty hunter. What a film. Lots of double crossing along the way. It looks spectacular. I think Peckinpah had a bit of a fascination with animal cruelty. So there's a scene with some children playing with scorpions and ants, which didn't really sit well with me. And there's an amazing bridge explosion with cowboys on horses. All practically done, by the way. But yeah, it looks spectacular, but these horses are on this bridge as it explodes. It doesn't sit well with me, does animal cruelty in films. But you can't deny this is a masterpiece of the Western genre. Fantastic cast. You've got William Holden, Ernest Borgnine, Robert Ryan, Warren Oates, Ben Johnson, and Strother Martin. Strother Martin is one of those character actors who seems to appear in every Western that you watch. He's such a great actor. I mean, he's brilliant in Cool Hand Luke, which slightly is outside of my top 10, unfortunately. But great film. I would class The Wild Bunch as like the evil brother of the Magnificent Seven. That's how I class it. Great film. Number 6, The Wild Bunch. So number 5 is another Western, but this time it's by the great Sergio Leone, and that is Once Upon a Time in the West. In my teens, I really didn't like this film. The pacing was far too slow for me, but when I revisited in my 40s, I just absolutely adored it. I just appreciated the filmmaking involved, from the sweeping vistas, and Leone sort of incites some suspense and tension with his long drawn out standoffs, and he flitters between like the short close ups and the long shots, and it's just an amazing feat of filmmaking, in my opinion, by Sergio Leone. You've got the spine-tingling film score by Ennio Morricone, which pairs up perfectly with the visuals. And then you've got an incredible cast, including Claudia Cardinale, Henry Ford, Jason Robards, and Charles Bronson. And that opening sequence with Charles Bronson getting off the train, and Jack Elam, I think it is, with the dodgy eye, and Woody Strode. Oh, I love that scene. It just, you're gradually edging further and further to the edge of your seat, in pure suspense, waiting for the shootout to happen. But it's, oh God, I love that scene. It's perfectly crafted and framed, and it's just perfect in every way. Once Upon a Time in the West, one of the best Westerns, if not one of the best films ever made, and it sits at number 5 in my top 10 60s films. So at number 4 is Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo from 1961. I adore this film. It's effectively a Japanese Western with samurai swords, but I love this. Sergio Leone remade it and called it A Fistful of Dollars, but I prefer the original. You've got Toshiro Mifune, who's playing Sanjuro. He walks into this town where you've got these two rival businessmen trying to gain control over the gambling trade, set during like a feudal war Japan era. And it's just brilliant. There's lots of twists and turns along the way as Sanjuro's playing them off each other. But it's just fantastic. You've even got Tetsuya Nakadai. He puts in a brilliant performance as one of the businessman's henchmen, and he's got these pistols as well as a samurai sword. There's a fantastic fight sequence at the end. Just love this film. Great direction. Cinematography is fantastic. They capture like a windswept town with all this dust blowing through. It's just such a great film. Number 4, Yojimbo. So at number 3, we enter the war genre with John Sturges' The Great Escape from 1963. I've had a fondness for this since I was a kid. It used to be on at Christmas. It used to be on at Easter. It was always on Sundays as well. Not so much now, but it's one of the films I've probably watched the most. It's just short of 3 hours long, but it absolutely flies by just because of the incredibly captivating narrative. It's based on a true story, and you've just got an array of wonderful actors in this. I could spend 5 minutes just going through the actors, but you've got Steve McQueen, you've got James Garner, Charles Bronson, James Coburn, Richard Attenborough, Donald Pleasence. You've got so many great actors in this. I could just keep going on. Just a wonderful war film. If you've not seen this, where the hell have you been? It's one of the best like prison drama war films of all time. It's set in this like high security and the escape-proof prison camp, but the inmates are determined to get out of there and make a run for freedom. And it's just captivating as you're watching them like devise plans to escape. You've got Steve McQueen as the Cooler King. He's always in the cell blocks with his baseball glove and baseball. But he's got one of the most iconic scenes in the whole movie when he's on the motorbike jumping over these barbed wire fences, being chased by the Nazis. But it's just a wonderful film. Elmer Bernstein's film score is so iconic and memorable. Everyone remembers it. Yeah, amazing. The Great Escape, number 3. So it's not long before I get to my number 1 spot, but at number 2, Sergio Leone makes another appearance with The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. One of the coolest westerns of all time. You've got 3 great anti-hero protagonists in Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef and Eli Wallach. Eli Wallach is arguably my favourite character as Tuco. He's the ugly. He's just phenomenal in this. I love his eyes in the close-ups. He's just got a bit of a manic personality. He's just brilliant in the role. But yeah, Sergio Leone is just he was one of the masters of cinema. He knows how to film these sweeping landscapes. He doesn't need dialogue. There's quite a lot of scenes where there's nothing being said at all, but paired up with that Ennio Morricone film score, it's just like cinematic perfection. Ennio Morricone, this film score in this is so stirring at times. It just gets you all excited. But you don't need dialogue when Ennio Morricone's film score's playing over the top of the wonderful visuals. It's just a wonderful film. This is a story about like 3 outlaws who are trying to find this hidden, buried bullion, this gold bullion, and they're just trying to outdo each other along the way. And yes, it's a long film, but I cannot be I cannot be not captivated by this film. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, a wonderful Western, and that's my number 2 top 10 60s films. Number 1 coming up. Okay, we've finally got to the number 1 spot, and that goes to Masaaki Kobayashi's Harikiri from 1962. This is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. It's one of the best films of all time in any genre. It's just a wonderful film. This is like a film that touches on the disparity between the lower and higher classes. And this is a film full of intrigue and suspense as the backstory is drip-fed through flashbacks. You've got Tatsuya Nakadai, who was incredible in this. He plays this samurai who turns up at this upper class Japanese house, and he doesn't seem to have a will to live anymore. And as the film plays out in this little courtyard, the backstory is drip fed to the viewer, and you find out why he doesn't want to live anymore. And the whole word of harikiri is like a ceremonial method of committing suicide, so that's why it's called harikiri seppuku. But yeah, incredible film. The cinematography from Yoshio Miyajima is just wonderful. It's just setting the tone perfectly, and like paired up with the film score by Taki Mitsu. He uses these authentic Japanese musical instruments, and it just ramps up the tension to an amazing finale. And there's a scene leading up to the finale with a samurai duel on this windswept hill. It's just, the visuals are incredible, and Kobayashi, his direction, it's faultless. I love this film so much. It's got a message to say, and it's told perfectly. It's just so that you want to know more as the film's progressing. If you've not seen that or own it, get it in your collection. You will not be disappointed. I think it's a couple of years ago, this was number 1 on Letterboxd in terms of like ratings of films, and it fully deserves to be right up there with the best. Harikiri, my number 1 film of the 60s. So that's it. You've got my top 10. There's so many great films in the decade of the 60s. You've got Cool Hand Luke. You've got Kwaidan. There's an array of Japanese cinema in the 60s that you could just delve into. 3 Outlaw Samurai. Disney produced some great films in the 60s. The Jungle Book could have been in my top 10. But yeah, so many great films. I could just read out a big list of honourable mentions now, but I've been waffling on far too long. Thanks for watching. If you feel like getting involved in this challenge, just make sure you tag me and Darren. I'll leave his details in my description below. But make sure you tag me in your video if you do a top 10 60s. I'd love to see what's in your top 10. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers. Goodbye.